Hey guys, Sandy here. I am going to be using this sketch right here that you see, and then I'm going to be using these two photos. This is a photo of my Apple Watch documenting my exercise progress and me standing outside of Drive Up. So let's see what I can do. Alright guys, so I have pulled out a good amount of papers from my Kill Kit this month, and you can see the sketch a little bit better over here on the left hand side. So my photos are 4x6. I do decide to cut them down to 4x5. Now I was messing around with the idea of cutting them down a little bit more, and I was covering up the little bit that would have been cut, and I decided that those photos were going to be too narrow. They just didn't really, they looked funky, so I didn't want them to be too narrow. So I decided to go ahead and start out with a khaki colored sheet of cardstock, and then I have this yellow kind of almost like a graph grid paper, but it looks more like hand-drawn lines. So that is going to be what that big white box is over there in the sketch. So my proportions are, they're slightly off since I'm not following the sketch exactly. I'm making it work for me. And that is the beautiful things about a sketch is, you can make it work for you. You can follow it exactly. You can look at one thing and say, oh, I like that cluster and I'm just going to use that. Like whatever you want. That is why I enjoy using sketches. Because they're great starting points, and sometimes when you're just not feeling super creative, they're great to just basically copy. So I do put the photos down on some of this blue paper. This is a sheet of basic gray. Now I do go and cut off the tool and even get as far as adhering it to the back of my photo. Ultimately though, I end up nixing the tool and it doesn't happen. I thought that it was going to be a great little touch, but really I just discovered that with so many different pattern papers going on this layout, and the scale just wasn't right, it just didn't feel right, so it had to go. Now, in the sketch, the pattern papers are repeated. However, I did not choose to go that way. I decided to use a different piece of pattern paper for every single square that is going to be on top of this kind of hand-drawn grid layout. So the cut apart sheet did have a couple 3x3 squares on it already, so I made sure to cut those out so that I can use them. And I am using these days from Cocoa Vanilla Studio as my basis for my Kill a Kit with Style this month. However, I am bringing in some brighter colors like these, and I'm trying to kind of liven it up a little bit on some of my layouts. Now, some of them are definitely very just kind of that autumnal color scheme, but this time I'm kind of trying to brighten it up, which is kind of funky because these photos were taken in November. So I have this square right here. It says Adventure Awaits, but I'm going to go ahead and cut down this little cut apart with the bright little bird on it that says Adventure is Calling. Now, I bought a new pair of scissors, guys, because I need a new pair of scissors, like I need a hole in the head. But these are those Fiskars, let's see, I still have the package, Spring Action Micro Tip Snips. So these bad boys are a spring action blade. They're supposed to reduce hand fatigue. It even has an arthritis foundation ease of use kind of designation on top of it. So I got these, and I do just make some straight cuts. I haven't played with them enough to really give you what I think about them, but they're sharp. They're brand new scissors, so they're super sharp. And they're easy to cut straight lines. But once I start fussy cutting with them, I will let you guys know how I feel about them for real. Now I go ahead and pop up that little bird on some foam dots just to give it a little bit of texture. Now I do add a couple of birds on here, and there's no other reason there's no other reason other than like this is drive up and we have to fly when we do drive up. And I know that that might sound cheesy or whatever, but you know, that's what's there in the back of my mind. So I do decorate with some birds on this layout. So I have these squares, and I'm just trying to figure out where I want the photo mats to go. And this is where I decide, you know what, this is not going to work with the tool. It's just not. Maybe if I didn't mat and pop up that little birdie, but otherwise it's just, it just doesn't feel right. So now I'm going to keep pulling out the papers that I have in my kit. I'm going to cut down into 3x3 squares and go ahead and place them here on top of the yellow checkered print. Now, I am definitely bringing in varying shades of yellow onto this layout, and I'm doing that on purpose because, excuse me, because the layout title is going to have a big bright yellow element on it. So I felt like I needed to really kind of like just bring up the yellow. Not bring up, I don't even know what. I want it to enhance the yellow. I want it to have like a good amount of yellow on the layout so that the title didn't seem glaring in your face. So I have a good mix of darker, deeper, richer colors and the more kind of pastel type colors going on here. And I'm happy with how it turns out. And now that I'm looking at this through the video camera, I'm realizing that that pink heart paper on the left kind of looks like an extension of my sleeve. And that is accidental. It didn't even dawn on me that it looked like that until I'm watching the video with you guys. So I am trying to find the center of the cork here because I'm going to go ahead and cut a little arrow in it so that I can kind of follow what's going on the sketch up there. I decided I was just going to use this little cork piece instead of finding a bunch of different little pieces or cutting it up into different size pieces. Didn't have time for that. Wanted to have this solid thing going on. At first I was just going to do it with the two arrowheads, but I decided I didn't like that, so I did put the fishtail banner at the end. I'm just going to layer it up right there. I'm really trying to make it feel like the background is part of the foreground. Like I know that, you know, I just want it to be one full cohesive kind of feeling on the page. So here is that bright yellow word I was telling you guys about, and it spells sunshine. And my title is going to be At Least There Is Sunshine. Because, you know, it would suck if this was a rainy day. Even though we have a tent and all kinds of things like that when it's raining. Still not my favorite thing to do. Now, I am going to go ahead and figure out how to make tags down here. I am going to mess around with my papers and just kind of figure out what the heck I want to do. And while I'm doing that, I decide that I am going to play around with the scissors right there. You can kind of see off camera that they are really fun to squeeze. It's almost like a stress ball where you just squeeze it and make them go in and out, in and out. Now, I am a little disappointed. The only thing I am initially disappointed with these scissors is it doesn't have a cover for the pointy ends. And they're a pretty pointy tip, so I would want them to have a slip-on cover or something, kind of like the Cutter Bees do. But, you know, they don't. So I pull out these alphabet stickers that are in my stash, and they are a khaki. So I'm just putting it down so that it says there is sunshine, and then I'm going to go back to my letter sticker stash and ultimately find another khaki colored one to go ahead and place it down there. It never fails. You do a voiceover and somebody either calls you, rings your doorbell, does all kinds of things. So while I am out looking for that other khaki colored letter sticker, which I do find, and these are the Kaiser Craft ones, so these are definitely a smaller size. Normally, I don't think I have too many tile stickers in a title when I'm mixing up title words. I'm trying to think back if this is something I normally do. I don't feel like it is, but I think it's okay because I have two different kinds and two different sizes. So it's not like it's all the same size, and I think that that is what makes it work. Now, I did cut off this little bit because I was going to put a tab here like it has up in the sketch, but everything I didn't like it. So I ended up just tossing that little teeny piece of paper into the bin. We didn't need that in our lives anymore. Now, since I introduced the cork arrow up here, I decided to bring in more cork, and then I saw this yellow Picture Perfect. So I was just trying to figure out where I wanted to put that. And I decided to use this as the decoration where the camera is. So I will add on tags, but I'm not going to add a camera. I'm just going to use the word Picture Perfect. I have this little curly Q of cork here that I go ahead and put down. And then I decide to bring out the Prima flowers. So these Prima flowers, they are the white and cream ones. They are a mixture of colors in this bottle that I have, but I just decide, you know what, we're just gonna make it happen. So I go ahead and put the flower down, and then I grab my absolute favorite sequins. These are super sparkly glitter sequins from Brutus Monroe. And I'm going to put these as the center of the flowers on all the flowers that I place on this layout. Now, you might find it a little funky to be placing florals on a layout about drive up. We are outside, and even though you only see a little teeny tiny bit of a tree in that one photo with me in it, I think it's appropriate, right? Like, you can put flowers anywhere you want to. I mean, people slap butterflies all over the pages, right? So I can put flowers wherever I want to. And I'm using birds, which is weird, but there we are. So now I've got the Picture Perfect cork piece down here, and I need to make some decisions about what my tags are going to look like. So I decide to grab some scrap sheets of paper. Now, these are papers that I've already cut apart. This is the offcut of that yellow grid paper, and it's got this beautiful floral on it. This floral paper, this is what I'm going to try to fussy cut out with these scissors, just to see how they work. So I'm going to go ahead and place these guys down here. So I have the one tag here, and then I've got to figure out what the other tag is going to be. Now, I did think about using something a little bit brighter and a little bit darker, but ultimately I decided to go with another piece of the yellow, just because I really did want to pop up that yellow on the page. I do have this big old thing of yellow fluorescent safety vest in my photo, so you know, the more yellow the merrier, I guess. I don't know, for some reason I was just really stuck on adding a bunch of yellow onto this layout. You know, sometimes you get something in your head where you're like, yep, that's what I need to do. I need to add this yellow, or I need to have flowers, or I need to put plaid here, or I need a diagonal stripe. There's just something sometimes where you are creating and it gets stuck in your head, and that's what you do. So I just kept making sure I had this yellow color on top of this layout. So I am going to go ahead and use that label sticker and the little banner sticker there, just to kind of give this little tag area a little bit more oomph. I know it's got that big old yellow there, but I felt like it needed a little something more. This is where I find those cork birds, and I'm like, you know what? Where else am I going to use these birds on a page? I've already got a bird on here, so if I just add a couple more, it's like a theme. Like, it works. Like, it's all over this page now, and it works. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Now, I did think about covering up that pink square a little bit with something to be able to journal with, and then I was like, oh, duh, Sandy. You've got this little journaling piece right here, and it's even got lines on it. So I just go ahead and do a quick couple lines of journaling. Nothing big, nothing epic, because I do have other layouts about Drive Up and how intense it can be. So there was no, you know, I don't need some sort of epically long journaling bit because I have various layouts about this. And that is one of the reasons why I do Scrapbook, I guess, with, you know, 1 or 2 photos a lot of the times, because I have a lot of layouts and I can spread the journaling over, and it gives me lots of fun things to play with, because, you know, playing with pretty paper is what it's all about. So there it is, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks for joining me. Make sure you join the Scrapping Reflections Facebook group. That's where you will see the sketch posted, and I would love to see what you come up with. And I will see you guys again real soon for another video.